All right, episode 12. Welcome to Bite-Worthy, where I ask comedians questions about food and comedy. I take them to their favorite restaurants or out for their favorite type of food. And you only see one person in the shot today. I'm the guest. I'm special today. I'm taking myself out. And I'm at a place, it's called Big D's. I'm gonna get roasted for this place. Big D's Barbecue. And it's a really good, actually it's the best barbecue restaurant I've ever been to. There's this sandwich called a pork brownie sandwich. No, it's not a brownie. It's an actual like chunk of the meat that has a lot of bark on it. So, excuse me. It's this small little brick of meat. It looks kind of like a brownie because it's really dark and charred, and it's perfect. I get it every time. But the comedian that I have on is me, and I don't want to be as conceited as to say that I'm bite-worthy, but you know what? A lot of people said, you know what? You know, you're funny. I'll take it. I think I am sometimes not so much. But I may have made the mistake of allowing you guys, I don't think I have any fans yet, but my comedy friends and my friends outside of comedy ask me questions. So that's what we're gonna do today. As you can see, what's up, fool? Got my Felipe Esparza shirt on. Go to YMH Store Online. YMH Store Online to get your jean hat. Little plug there. Not that I'm making any money off it. It's cool comedy clothes and stuff. So, just gonna ramble off some questions here while I eat some food. As always, I thank you guys for even tuning into this. I know it's a small thing. I know it's probably going long sometimes. But we're gonna keep this one short and sweet and read these questions that you guys have asked me, whether it's on Instagram, I text you. I appreciate it. Thank you for, I'm gonna do this again. I might just have this like as a bonus episode. Didn't go to my favorite steakhouse or favorite actual restaurant today. It's too noisy there for now, and I would have had to plan it, arrange it differently. So we're here. First question is from Alyssa. If you can go anywhere and get an authentic meal made, what or where would it be? That's a good question. There's two things that come to my mind. I would go to Italy. It's where my stupid Dago ancestors are from. I love them. God bless them. It's a place called Modugno, Italy. I would want to go there and have whatever pizza and pasta, salads, fish, all those things prepared there. Whatever it is. They can, anything. Or there's a place right down the road from me in Gainesville. It's called, I think it's called Taco Veloz. And nobody in there really speaks English well. And I go there for tacos. So that's authentic Mexican food, trust me. When they have trouble speaking the language, that's when you know it's good. I just went to a Korean barbecue restaurant in Duluth, and I didn't see a single word except one sign on the logo was in English. Everything else, Korean. The food was amazing. So, I mean, that's where I would go. Italy or Gainesville. Katie Smith, shout out to Katie. What food do you joke about the most? You're about to hear about it, but I mean, we're at Big D's, so anything. It's two answers to that. I'd say anything dick-shaped. It's low-hanging fruit, but yeah, dick-shaped foods are always funny. It depends on the joke or the circumstance and the context, but if I were to make a joke about rice, you know, regarding Asian culture, there's sometimes a joke there. Food gets brought into humor a lot because it, like comedy, which is why I do this channel, it's universal. And so it makes sense that food would kind of make its way into comedy, or types of food, that kind of thing. Food could also be very offensive. If you were to make certain black, Asian, white, Native American, any kind of racial joke, it could be in poor taste. So doing it right is what I would suggest you joke about food with. But food is universal, so dick-shaped foods, and in the right way, foods that are local to that culture, etc. Liz asked me a bunch of questions. So Liz Durr, follow at Liz Durbater. Shout out. She's got here. You see stickers. Go buy them. They're good. She asked me, what is the most expensive food I threw up? I don't expect anything less from Liz. The most expensive food I threw up. I think it was lobster. Yeah, I threw up a lobster dinner when it was a birthday. My mom used to get me for my birthdays a lobster dinner, and I remember partying too hard, and later that night just all over a yard. Yeah, that was not fun. That was definitely not fun. Tell us about your worst bomb. Ooh, where do I begin? That's half my sets. Ha ha ha. No, I think the worst one was probably at roll call. I know it's a tough room and there aren't many people, but when you have at least half the people there are not comedians, you at least have an audience. I told a joke and I got nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not a chuckle, not a ha, not a groan, not those Price is Right trumpet noises, wah wah, nothing like that. That, and I find I bomb more often in smaller crowds. Like, put me on stage in front of hundreds of people, 50, 60, a large crowd, I do fine. Not a problem at all. You put me in front of a group of 4 or 5, that's when the nerves kick in. So that was bad. Who inspired me to do comedy? Bad comedians, I guess, is the real answer. Yeah, I would say comedians who I've seen who are like just not funny, or and no offense to any graduate or anything, but I went to a comedy class graduation, and I saw some of the acts. I'd say most of the acts, and I said, I can do this. And it's no offense to them, I just know that I could do it. And I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna give this a try. So I did it. I signed up. Was honored enough to open the show. I look back on that set, and Mark, he gave me sage advice. You're gonna look back at it and you're gonna be embarrassed. I get it, but because you're new. What do you know when you're new? It's like a 20-year-old kid tries to give me life advice. What do you know? Get out of here. I get that. But it was really bad comedians. So I see, or at least other comedians who aren't as seasoned and got laughs, and I said, I can do that. So, and then other people encouraged me to do it. Not many, but a few. What is my go-to comfort food? Steak. Yeah, steak. Brownies. I have a bad sweet tooth, so cakes, brownies. Oh my God. Yeah. Steak was the first food I ever remember eating. So anytime I can have a nice, just big juicy steak, porterhouse, New York strip, filet, it doesn't matter. I really am at home with that. Yeah, that's my go-to. My friend Josh, who does not think I'm funny on stage, off stage, little different. He asked me, heard you walked into an ice cream shop and just ordered 2 bananas. true. Never done that. I've never done that. What an idiot. No, I haven't done that. No. It was just one banana. Which leads to his next question. Heard you can heard you can one throat a banana. Never tried. And I was gonna say I like where your head's at. I don't like where your head's at with that at all. I love you so much, and you're my best friend. And you know, if you finally just come out of the closet one day, we'll all be much happier. We love you, and that's, you know, no, but that's funny. It's funny. He's funny. He is very funny. I will go on camera and say that. Jason Zaremba asked, a simple one, milk or dark chocolate? Both. Bro, let me tell you. Milk chocolate is so good. And dark chocolate is so good. White chocolate is so good. Caramel is so good. All of them. Everything with sugar, milk, fat, that's what I like. I like that. Huge sweet tooth. My grandpa, he has a sweet tooth that's apparently hereditary, because we were moving and we moved the couch and there were just Mounds wrappers, ice cream bar wrappers under there. And it was really funny. It's like, oh, I see where I get this. This makes sense. Yeah. Zach Hadlock asked, what's the funniest food to eat? Depends on if you're a guy and depends on if you're a girl. I guess it's the opposite. If you're a girl, the funniest thing to eat would be like clams or oysters. You know, simple lesbian joke in there. That's good. And same kind of premise, anything dick-shaped if you're a guy. Corn dogs, hot dogs, you know, anything like a popsicle. Yeah, sucker. Corn on the cob was your reference. I mean, yeah. Although if I were gay, and if I don't think I would attack a dick like a corn on the cob, I at least I know that. So, but yeah, I was actually writing a joke about that, because in one day I did have all the dick-shaped foods, I think, in one day. For breakfast, I had a banana. At lunch, I had a microwave burrito at the house. On the way to a comedy show, I had a corn dog from the gas station. And then after the comedy show, I actually had a hot dog and then a Philly cheesesteak. So, yeah, it's the most unhealthy day of food and the gayest day of food ever. So, that was that. Let's see. Rama asked, are comics growing pretentious? Rama, that's a deep one. I think, I'd say no. And the only reason I say that is because comedy is so popular right now. Stand-up comedians are like the rock stars, like hair metal bands were in the 80s. That's how we're kind of viewed now. Not as cool, but just as prevalent in culture, just as impacting and rebellious. I think there are more, and with more people just breeds more opportunities to see people act either great, pretentious, horrible, insecure. You see people fail, succeed, do mediocre. You just see everything the more people there are. So I think it's a numbers game. I know some pretentious comics. Yeah. Or they seem that way. You know, once you talk to someone and get to know them, I guess you don't really know, but I would say they can. Yeah, I'd say all comics have the potential to grow, you know, be pretentious over time. It's kind of like if you go to, the more you listen to music, I hate those people, by the way. They're like, oh, have you heard of, you know, have you heard the Silly Goat Trio band, or whatever stupid, dumb hipster band that they refer to? And you say no, you're like, and they go, oh, bro, they got it. Can't believe you don't know them. Shut up. Who cares? Or you say a band that's popular, like, I don't know, Metallica. They're like, oh, you listen to Metallica? Whipping their hair. Ugh. That, I hate pretentiousness. So possibly comics are growing that way. Depends on the comic, depends on how long they've been doing it. Zach asked another question. What topic do you wish comedians would joke about? I think it's all been kind of handled. There's just a different take on it. I like to see specific jokes. Like, Zach had a joke about lightning bugs. I wrote a joke about, violent crime and food cravings. Like, I like to see the randomness of things, the specificity of things get brought together in a joke. Or I love when a joke is so perfect. I just watched Matty Ryan had a joke, and it's about why we don't eat swans. And it's because of white privilege. Shout out Matty Ryan. That was a funny bit, because I've never heard anything close to it. So I think when people can keep pulling the funny out of random things, out of relatable things in life, that's what I like. So it's not a topic. It's actually the opposite. It's everyday things that are normal. TJ Black and TJ asked, does it taste good in your mouth? Comedy does when I speak those words, yeah. The food depends on the food. I was gonna say I like where your head's at, but I kind of don't. shout out TJ. Let's see. My friend Jake asked me, would I eat Rocky Mountain oysters? No, I wouldn't. Wait, hold on. Let me take that back. I think I would, because there might be a night in the future where, I lose a bet, I get dared to. There might be a place that does them well. I don't know. I mean, I just drove to Nashville, and I drove to Alabama, and there are some delicacies that you wouldn't expect. So I can't, never say never, man. Never say never. Friend Sonia asked, what's the most American food I've ever eaten? Bald eagle. No, I'm just kidding. The most American food I've ever eaten, I think was, I know. It was a bacon cheeseburger with a fried egg on top. And it's American because I think it's called the Royale, which is not an American word, but it was American because it was excess. It was too much. It was ridiculous how many calories it had. I finished the whole thing, and nobody can tell me that I couldn't. And it was just that's what makes it American. What makes it so American is the follow-up question. Was that. You tell me I can't finish it, I'll finish it. You tell me that it's too much, no. So that's the American rebel in us. Follow-up question, have you ever been heckled? I have. Yes, I have been heckled. Only once, and I wrote a joke about it. This girl said, everything's a learning experience. Just like that, with the little up speech at the end. And God bless her, there was a lull in my set, and I was trying to get the crowd back, and I had a setup that it was okay. And in the middle of that joke with the punchline, there was a delay in laughter, and she goes, everything's a learning experience. So yeah, that's my only heckle so far. We'll see what happens when I bring other crappy jokes to venues. And how do you deal with a heckler? Well, again, I can't speak for myself, but what I have seen is the normal decorum is you give people the benefit of a doubt. You know, sometimes they have a little too much to drink and they accidentally say something or laugh too loud, say something too loud. You know, maybe they're, you know, chime in at a place that they don't expect it. And if you're a fan of comedy and you go to comedy shows, you pretty much know the rules. That's 98% of the crowd. The larger the crowd, the more that 2% grows. So with people who don't give a shit that you're doing comedy at a venue that's not a comedy venue, those get a little dicey. I would say you ignore it. It usually goes away. Make a riff about it. Joke with them about what's going on, you know. And then if you can't squash that playfully, then if someone interrupts a little bit more, then you let them have it. Because here's the thing. You have a microphone and they don't. And normally you have a crowd on your side and they don't. They actually have the exact opposite. They have no microphone and they have a crowd against them. So that is a terrible spot to be in. That's an uphill battle. So for all, just PSA, if you are not in control of things in terms of drinking and you go to a comedy show and you heckle, or you're just an asshole, or you think comedians are there for you to banter back and forth with during their show, it's going to be a rough day most days. So it's rough, you know. And I know comedy can be offensive, and I get that. But just know that it's going to end poorly typically. My friend Mike asked me, what's my favorite style of comedy? It's a good question. I think I answered this before, but I think the answer has slightly changed. I love a good, well-written joke. I think if you were to keep it simple, keep it nice and short, most things that make me laugh are silly and stupid, but I would say that my favorite style of comedy is when someone writes a really good joke and they put thought into it and you see where their mind is and it translates well. Sometimes it doesn't get a laugh, but I like that. And the other style is slapstick. I don't perform slapstick comedy because I'm not good at it. But it's my favorite to watch because it never gets old. Vulgar humor, dark humor, I like it all. My friend Mike knows this. He's kind of a dark guy himself in terms of comedy. You know, a lot of death, injury, stabbing, you know, depression, a lot of that, you know, and some of that is the laugh to keep from crying kind of thing, and that's okay. I kind of like it all because I've had a lot of different types of comedians that I've seen, I've performed with, and that you know are professionals, both on screen and off screen, that have different styles that have made me laugh just as hard as the next. So I can't hammer it down, but if I were to write a well-written joke, short, Mark Norman might be one of the best examples of that. And then slapstick. Let's see. Sean asked me, have you ever met someone that gets their chicken wings sauceless? I am one of those I'm one of those people. I'm a person like that. Sometimes. Not all the time. But I get it because sometimes a restaurant has just crappy sauces. It's not often, but I've done that. Or why would someone get their chicken wing sauces? Because they're boring losers. That's why. That's the answer you want, right? Yeah, they're boring losers. And I'm a boring loser at times, for sure. No, I guess it's because I've gotten rooster's wings. You know what I'm talking about. I've gotten rooster's wings naked. No sauce, no nothing. Not even their dry rub. And I've just had them just because they're good. Those are good wings. They fry them well. Something about that probably 25-year-old oil. You know, something about that restaurant. Maybe the smoke gets in there. You know, you can taste all the burnouts and college kids and, you know, high school kids that we went to school with that have worked there over the span of time in that recipe. Yeah, that's a good wing doesn't need sauce, but yeah. Girlfriend April, she asked, can you make friends with a comic with a girlfriend? Because it's awkward when I'm the only one there. Comics, a lot of them are single. The older you get, you know, you're going to find someone, but it's a lot of single comics out there, and it's because comedians are typically what's the phrase? Fucked up individuals, typically. Yeah. So she, unfortunately, she's been the only girl there at times, and like, I don't know what to tell you. I can't fix them, you know. I don't want to, because then their comedy would suffer. Yeah, comedians a lot of them are single, and once you listen to their sets and problems, you know why. My friend Alex Burdett asks, this is a good question, what is the generally good definition of good timing? That's a good question. It depends on the joke, depends on the room, depends on your style of comedy. It depends on like your voice and how you speak. I wrote a joke because I have a very white voice. I wrote a joke where I think I sound a lot deeper of a voice in my head. I think I have a deep voice in my head. So I think I sound like Barry White. Turns out, when you listen to comedy of yourself, you get to hear back what your voice actually sounds like. It's actually very white. Not Barry White, it's very white. So it depends on your voice, the joke, your style of comedy, your energy. So I would relate it to a drummer. Like, you know what good timing is. It depends on the song. It depends on the crowd. You're not going to play, you know, a slow song for a punk rock crowd. You're going to play something fast. Tick-a-tat, tick-a-tat, tick-a-tat. You know, you're going to play that. That's the same for certain crowds. And, you know, you wouldn't have Travis Barker play, you know, you wouldn't have him as a jazz. He can do it, but you wouldn't have him as a jazz drummer. He's best at punk rock. You know, a lot of cymbal, a lot of toms, a lot of punk pop beats. So it's the same for comedy. So a comedian who's deadpan, he might pause on a punchline, shrug his shoulders. Someone might really use a lot of eyebrow, and then, you know, really inflection, like, oh man. It all kind of depends. So that's it for this episode. I get to do plugs now because I'm the guest. It's my show. Haha. I only have 3 shows coming up, all at the end of, not this weekend, but the following weekend on the 29th. I will be at Dahlonega, the Canopy and Roots again. It's a great venue. Holly's great. That is a great place. This is actually on the way up there, so comedians, if you're booked there, or if you're going to perform there, stop at this place. It's just, if you're going 400 north, just take a right at 53 right here, and it's next to the gas station. That's when you know a southern place is good. It's just an old little podunk place right in the middle of a gas station, you know, that kind of thing. It's really good. Stop here, get a bite, and get up there. And then I will be performing at the Punchline at Jeff Justice Comedy Workshop alumni show May 1st. That's Sunday, May 1st. Please buy tickets. I need to put asses in seats, as it were. And then I will be performing at Black Bear Tavern the next day on the 2nd. So RyanSchrillacomedy.com. Please share this, subscribe it if you haven't subscribed. I'm going to try and get a lot more comedians on here. I'm not going to try. I will. You will see a lot more comedians. I have my first big comedian this fall coming up. And then, yeah, we're going to climb the ranks, guys. Look out, Joel Byers. I'm coming for you, man. But if you have any comments, questions, suggestions, please leave them. Please roast me in the comment section for having big D's. I know it's just jokes abound. So I guess I asked for it. See you next time. I'm not sure who I'm going to have. I think I have 3 comics in line. So you'll see. Bye. Thanks.